Hello fellow tamers, today we're talking about Digimon World Next Order, which is now available for PC and for Switch. And with every new Digimon release, you have to ask yourself, is this a Digimon game that I will enjoy? And as the name suggests, Digimon World is part of the World series, which focuses on Digimon raising and real-time combat. Games like Cyber Sleuth and the DS games focus on turn-based combat and the story more generally, so very big differences that we're going to talk about. And if you enjoy monster taming and raising your creatures and battling, you will enjoy this game, especially for Switch, so let's dive on in. In Digimon World Next Order, you quickly find yourself in a digital world with two digital partners, which is a big difference from games like Digimon World, the original, and Digimon Re-Rise, where you only have one partner. In this case, you will raise two partners simultaneously, and after defeating a Machine Draymon, you get two Digimon eggs that you'll be raising through the entirety of this game. You're quickly introduced to Digimon and the very tiny Floatia, which you'll be upgrading by meeting new Digimon and recruiting Digimon to the city, very similar to Digimon World the original, as this game is a sequel to that game, if not just a spiritual successor. After you're tasked with recruiting new Digimon to the city, you're quickly introduced to the gym and training your Digimon, but a pro tip is that you actually shouldn't spend a whole lot of time here. Although you can raise your stats in the gym, it's actually a lot better to go and fight wild Digimon in different specific areas to raise your stats. But the main mechanic of the game is now introduced, in which you are raising the stats and raising your Digimon throughout the game in order to reach higher levels like Champion, Ultimate, and Mega, so that you can take on more powerful Digimon and ultimately save the digital world. This is a good time to mention that the gameplay mechanics of Digimon World Next Order are very different from games like Digimon Cyber Sleuth or Hacker's Memory, or the DS games like Dawn and Dusk, in that this is very much a virtual pet raiser, and you'll be spending the majority of your gameplay focused on that. So if you are looking for a Digimon game like Cyber Sleuth or the DS games, this is going to play a lot differently, so I do want to caution you now. It's also very different than Digimon Survive, but that's a topic for another video. And it is important to note that this is not a short game. Even if you're beelining the main story of the game, it's still probably about 60 hours, if not more, which is a good and bad thing. If you wanted like a quick entry into Digimon and a quick story, this is probably not the game for you. But if you do want to take the time mapping out your Digimon partners, their Digimon lines, exploring all the different things in this digital world, and recruiting tons and tons of different Digimon, this is a game you'll really enjoy, and there's a ton of content to get into, and a post game that's even more exciting and adds a lot more to the digital world. But you will be doing a lot of training, a lot of carrying, and a lot of restarting your stats to get to that final point. Both of your Digimon have lifespans, and depending on what stage they're in terms of Rookie, Champion, Ultimate, Mega, they have a certain amount of days they can be alive for. So for example, if you're a Rookie, I want to say it's maybe like 3 to 4 days or so, and then progressively gets higher into your Ultimate and you have like 11 days of life. You can extend that by different ways, by feeding your Digimon, by having different recruitable Digimon in the city with you, but you are on the clock, and your Digimon will not live forever, so you are constantly having to restart and care for your Digimon, starting from that really in-training baby stage all the way up to Mega. But it is exciting because it gives you a chance to explore the full roster of Digimon, which is pretty robust for this game. A few things to talk about with the game mechanics before we jump into the story and performance of the game more generally. Having two Digimon partners at first seemed a little awkward. One thing I love about Digimon is that you have a bond with one partner, and that your bond gets you through all your different struggles and new evolutions, and having two kind of felt like it diluted that. In terms of mechanics, it's helpful because you can do certain fusion evolutions or merges as you're battling to make your Digimon even more powerful, which in a lot of ways is really helpful to get through some of the difficult bosses in this game. But at first it felt a little awkward, but as I went through the game, I actually really enjoyed having two Digimon to explore all the different paths you can go down, and you get attached to them in different ways. So at first, like I mentioned, I thought it was a negative, but ultimately thought it was a positive in this game and a strength of the game as well. It's also very important to mention that the battling mechanic in this game is very different from games like Cyber Sleuth and Digimon Dusk, or even Digimon World 3, in that this is not turn-based, it is real-time combat. So the stats you bring into the battle after raising your Digimon and training them, that's what's most important here. You can give commands to help them take less damage or to unleash special moves, but ultimately you're raising your Digimon so that when you get into these battles, they're the ones taking over and you're just helping in little ways. So it's not going to be turn-based combat where you're planning out every move or buffing your stats in that way. There's real-time combat with your Digimon doing most of the work, and you're giving the next order or next commands. You can also level up your character in this game, your human character avatar, which is similar to something like Cyber Sleuth where you get more hacking skills, but in this case, the skills that you develop in Next Order directly impact your ability to raise your Digimon, to make them stronger, to progress through the game easier, or have different avenues available to you. So leveling up your character becomes more important. Your different trees will go down like Survivor or Commander, and your skills and skill tree ultimately impact the way you play the game. So make sure to take a look at the end of a certain skill tree to see if you ultimately want to develop that skill for your avatar, because there's a good chance you won't max out every skill tree before the end of the game. Not saying you need to by any means, you can definitely just kind of grind your way through the game if you need to, but even grinding becomes a lot easier if you have certain skills through your avatar, so make sure you keep that in mind as you go through the game and think about how you want to build your character out. This Digimon World game focuses on Digimon raising and not the story or plot in this game, and it really shows. It's not a terrible story by any means. It's kind of a basic Digimon story where you have to save the digital world, you have human and Digimon partners who are going through all kinds of trials and tribulations, but ultimately what you're focusing is on Digimon raising. So if you are looking for a game that's very narrative or story driven or even character focused, this will probably not be the Digimon game for you. It's not like Cyber Sleuth or Hacker's Memory, for example, where the story is the main driving force. You are focusing on Digimon raising. It's very different in that regard, so I just want to be explicit in saying that so we don't have another Digimon Survive on our hands. The strongest point of the story, in my opinion, is the fact that you get to recruit different Digimon to the city. Just like in the original Digimon World game, these Digimon will bring different shops or mechanics or items to the city that allow you to explore the game even further, and you get to know different Digimon and different personalities even better. Like you meet a Bancholeomon, which is cool. There is a wise Taomon that helps you throughout the game, so that to me is the strong point. The story itself is kind of bland, but how you get to the endpoints via recruiting Digimon is a nice touch, and I think is really well done in this game. One important thing to know about recruiting Digimon is that some Digimon are not recruitable until the city is upgraded in certain ways. So for example, you can't maybe recruit an XVmon until you have the gym at level 5. That's just a bad example. But keep that in mind as you go through the game, because you might be wondering, why can't I recruit this Digimon? Likely it's because your city is not upgraded enough, so there is a compelling reason to upgrade your city and go through the story in that regard so that you can get more recruitable Digimon and have access to more training facilities, items, and shops. Digimon World Next Order has been available for PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 4 for several years now, but is now available for Switch and for PC. And with the Switch version and PC version, you get two new functions. One is the run mode, so you can get through the game a little bit more quickly, which I think is going to be a nice touch. And you'll get access to beginner mode, which I would recommend checking out. In the original iteration of the game, playing in easy was a little bit more fun, I thought. But just keep in mind that you do have beginner mode as well, so think about playing that mode when you do play on Switch and or PC. The game is expected to be a largely 60 frames per second experience, but it can drop to 30 FPS in certain circumstances. The game will run at 1080p docked and 720p held. Keep in mind that's a little bit worse than the PS4 version, which currently runs at 60 FPS with a resolution of 1080p. That slight performance compromise, it shouldn't be too surprising for those of you who do have a Switch, and I do think the added portability for this game will make it a ton of fun. Just like really any other Switch port, you'd be buying it for Switch for that portability factor, and I think having your Digimon on the go, raising them on the go for quick training sessions will be a lot of fun and will be very advantageous to the portability of the platform. In summary, Digimon World Next Order is a top tier monster raiser in the very truest sense, in that the focus of this game again is going to be raising your Digimon from an egg all the way to Mega and restarting over and over again. The game is grindy but rewarding. It's not going to be super story focused, it's not going to be really battle focused, but you will have the opportunity to develop deep bonds with two digital partners, build out a city, and save the digital world with the help of your human companions and Digimon companions. So if that sounds like an exciting game to you, keeping in mind it's not Digimon Survive, it's not Digimon Cyber Sleuth, I highly recommend checking out this game for PC, for Switch, or for PS4, but I do think the Switch version will be a lot of fun on the go, so that gets a recommendation for me, and I definitely enjoy playing it on PS4 as well. PC performance and future mods that I'm sure are going to come out are going to make the game fantastic for that platform as well, so you can't really go wrong with where you play this game. but just keep in mind the caveats of what the Digimon game is and what it isn't. I think you'll really enjoy this one. And let me know in the comments down below which 2 Digimon partners you're most excited about in this game. As always, if you like the content, please make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Alright, bye.